I don't belong to you, like you don't belong to me. There's a space behind your eyes that I can feel, but I don't need anything that you can offer me. I just want to know conditions of your smile. Don't wanna see you cry, don't wanna hear you lie. The story of my life, oh heaven knows I tried. Don't wanna see you cry, don't wanna hear you lie. The story of your life, the devil knows I tried. The devil knows I tried. If you're the God that's forbidding me, just grant me the forgiveness in your heart. It's only free will or predestiny. Sacrifice me on the altar of your past. Don't wanna see you cry, don't wanna hear you lie. The story of your life, oh heaven knows I've tried. Don't wanna see you cry, don't wanna hear you lie. The story of my life, the devil knows I tried. The devil knows I tried.
You've been texting me all motherfucking day. I'm here. What you want?
I knew I lost my mind. You know why? She was my mama. You supposed to know and love the woman in me deeper and stronger than anybody else.
I want that. I just don't want that with you.
Love is love. And I'm not just any woman. I am your best friend.
Are you in this neighborhood, really?
I can't spend all my time on this Mr. Olson. I work, you know.
Oh, look how the fuck that turned out.
To have hope where confusion sets. Love unfamiliar but ordained, and therefore to be celebrated and trusted.
Why do you keep telling me to relax? My fiance has been abducted, Rick.
All right, look at that, man. Yeah.
Did you have me muted, Mark?
Huh?
How dare you mute me?
No, I hit us from stream, so I could do the other
Right when we came on and said you are now unmuted.
one. No, it's because I added us back to the
It was
stream.
because of you, Loa. They were trying to mute you. All right, welcome everyone out there. Is it our 52nd or 53rd, man? I can't keep
52nd.
track. I can't keep track, man. It's called old age, dude. I'm starting to see now. Anyway, welcome you guys. Stormcrow Productions via Stormcrow Dreamers Talking to Dreamers. My co-host Mark Parler, who makes all the magic happen. And then, of course, my name is JD Glasscock. And then, of course, this is Lola.
Hi, Lola.
Look at her haircut. Doesn't she look cute?
Oh, she is super cute.
Anyway, thank you for coming. We have some amazing guests. You just watched Julian's music video and Nikki's acting reel. An insane amount of talent. I feel honored having them here, and I know Mark was praying at an altar earlier, thanking the heavens that we've had such amazing guests. He was doing it in the Star Wars boxers, though, so that was a little off key, but
a little meditation.
But anyway, who do you want to bring in first, Mark?
Let's go ahead and bring in Nikki.
All right, first up is just a super talented actor. On top of that, absolutely beautiful. She's a model as well, and various artistic pursuits. And on top of the more important part, beautiful spirit and heart. Let's bring in Nikki LaShae. Hey, Nikki.
Hello,
How are you?
Hey, Mark. Hey, JD.
Hello.
Hey. Nikki is an absolutely stunning woman and beautiful spirit and very talented. We're glad to have her here. Let's bring in our other guest as well, who's someone I've known for I've known you for quite a while, Nikki. We've been on Facebook friends or whatever. Yeah, like literally. I've been in Texas for 5 years, and we were connected when I was in LA. So it's got to be at least 8, probably 7, 8 years. I would guess. And then Julian, I literally, it's probably been about a decade. And actually, there's a link that goes further back than that. But Julian he's had music on the soundtrack of Maleficent. He is in a world touring band of the most well-known and popular Depeche Mode tribute band. And he's also been an actor. He's just an amazing talent as well. So bring in Julian Shaw Taylor.
Hello.
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 How you doing?
Your video is not on though, I don't think.
I can see myself. I don't know. Can you not see me?
No. Just maybe click the little video icon in the little corner or whatever, left corner. I think
Give me one second.
Bottom left corner.
No, I'm on.
Maybe you just turn it off and on. There you go. Hey, Julian.
Hey, JD.
Yeah. So I actually have 2 people I've known for a long time. I think I've known Nikki maybe about 7, 8 years, and I've known Julian probably almost a decade. We were talking about before the show started that actually his child, who was 7, me and him went out to dinner when she was literally only bigger than like a foot. She was literally certainly less than a year old, but so it kind of puts things in perspective. His thing was he said he should feel old, but what he really feels is that JD is just really old. But you know what I mean? But still,
why?
But anyway, we'll jump right into it, and we'll start with Nikki. Nikki, what is a project that you have done in the last 2 years that you were just insanely passionate about, that you thought turned out beautiful?
Well, I think of, I guess you can call them vignettes during the pandemic, and it was just so important to me, and I didn't even realize how important it would be, just because when everything was stripped away industry-wise, nobody was auditioning, no funding meetings, there was like nothing. It was strictly left up to creators to create, and so it really showed me what I was made of, and it really, I think, held a mirror to my face and a lot of creators' faces. What do you really want to do in life, and how do you really want to show up? And so when everything else was stripped away and nobody was hiring, to still be craving to be able to tell stories just really meant a lot to me as an artist. And one of those films is actually screening at the Michelle Film Festival in Los Angeles on the 15th.
So were these separate little short films, or were they vignettes that you put together into one thing?
So it's like a series. So it features several different writers. All the writers are like award winners. They have things that have been distributed, and then it's like little teams for each one. And one is actually fleshing out into an episodic for distribution. One is in a festival that's screening in LA, and so it's just these little things that there was one actor, me, one director, and one camera person, and maybe a PA. So just to strip everything down to their minimum, and have no
kind of monologue, like monologues.
You can say that, but it's still a dialogue of sorts. Just you don't hear the response in that particular thing. So it's shot as a short.
Very, very cool. Also, I forgot to mention, you guys, if you want to share this to your people, I shared it onto my Facebook profile. It should be at the top. So if you want to share that to your page, feel free to do so. Just make sure the volume is off on it, so that we're not hearing ourselves echo. But I'll give you a second, and then I'm going to dig a little deeper into what you're talking about, Nikki.
There you go. Shared.
Well, not all your people that love you are actually on my Facebook, so I wanted to give them an opportunity to be able to say hi. Did you do it, Nick?
I just found it.
Oh, that's pretty sick. Oh man.
Oh my God! What happened, Mark? Did you just see that photo of yourself in your sumo thong with your lightsaber?
No. So
No?
Julian, like, what was it?
Yep. Okay. Did it.
So
Okay, so
when it was in
what
the
was we'll get back to your sumo thong again, Mark.
Okay.
What was the I'm assuming based on the description you were doing that these were kind of heavy dramatics as opposed to comedy or the vignettes.
Yeah. Yes, they were different subject matters. One was dealing with LGBTQIA. One was dealing with actually two were dealing with that. Another one was, but one was a period piece. Back then, a lot of people weren't comfortable coming out, so they would marry each other to present straight. That's another thing. And then another dealt with a young girl that had childhood trauma that is now in prison confronting her mother. It's just very heavy stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I was from your commentary. I was, especially if you're going for. This is what I found when I did shorts was that, especially with budget constraints and limited time spans and stuff like that, drama was the easiest thing to shoot, because stunts, action, comedy, usually those things take more time to set up, so they usually end up being longer type things to try to put together. So I was assuming it was dramatics, but that's very cool. You have to send me a link to one or two so I can take a look at it.
Sure.
And then tell Mark where one of them can be found, and he can link it onto this actual episode.
Yeah, well, when the distribution information comes out, absolutely, I would happily share that with you guys.
Yeah, just message it tomorrow. This thing is live right now on YouTube here and Twitch, but they're also recorded at the same time. So all three will be there. We can add stuff to it. But anyway, so let's get to Julian. Julian, what have you done in the last 2 years that you're passionate about and you thought kicked booty?
I've been working on a new album since the pandemic. Obviously the touring stopped, which was a pain. That's my main source of income currently. So I started doing live streams.
Yeah, I got a few.
it was incredible. It was very remunerative. It was actually quite lucrative for the first 6 months, which I wasn't expecting, honestly. And I released a single a month for about 10 months, and I had something like 23 pieces of music released over the pandemic year.
And this is your solo original stuff, right?
Well, I did about 12 solo originals, and then I did a whole lot of remixes.
You gotta understand with Julian, he literally, as far as music goes, he has like 28 different bands he plays with, or 28 different incarnations of Julian that he does. I mean, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but he does the Depeche Mode tribute art band. He does David Bowie thing. He does his own personal original stuff, and then I'm probably missing at least a couple there. But
I engineered the #1 new age piano album in the world between the pandemic and 2021.
That's very cool.
With my friend Wayne Bethanis, so he is currently #1 around the world, and I'm doing a new album with him as well. I've remixed one of my childhood idols, Wayne Hussey of the Mission UK, which was very exciting. I worked with David J a lot from Bauhaus. I had Carmine from Bowie's band come in and play bass for me. Alan White from Morrissey's band played guitar on my song and remix. It was a really, really busy year for me, the pandemic.
Very cool.
And then,
when needs must, you need to get creative, and you have always had a plethora of creative energy. So
yeah, I mean, it was good to get that done. I also left my ex-wife and moved out of my home in the pandemic, so there was a whole sort of like other aspect to it as well.
I always say, even though I get you, the pandemic. I'm 51 years old. I would say between the pandemic and the heinous ice storm we had in Texas, like during the pandemic, was probably the hardest year of my existence, probably, and I think that's true for many people.
Me especially too.
But I always say you're challenged in a way that makes you, if you're open to it, garner the strength you will need going forward. You know what I mean? That there's always a reason and a path and a state interwoven spirit forged that if you are open to that, you'll come out of it stronger, better, with new ideas, new creativity, new things.
Well, I feel a lot of people who are able to create on their own had a lot of ideas and got them out. Like Nikki, you were saying, you shot a bunch of stuff over that time period, right?
Yeah, which we normally would not have done, and it maybe opened up a few new paths.
So the 2021 was a real drop off in work. Actually, we got back on touring and started making money again. But actually, I've probably written 2 songs since 2020. And normally
I think it was
write.
probably a boon for you though, Julian, because I remember you were telling me that you were so effing busy before the pandemic that you were feeling a little stifled. You didn't have zero time to do your own stuff.
That's true. That's true. So that whole year, it was all about that, and it was great. I mean, aside from the moving aspect and having to downstairs my studio, which was good for culling a lot of useless and extraneous stuff, I think. So, and then there were a lot of ideas, and now I have this album which is bigger than it should be, so I have to cull it a little bit.
Or just split into 2 albums, but yeah.
I don't want to do that. I find that's a bit sort of indulgent. I want to hone it.
I didn't say launch them at the same time. But you could dish the other ones off into a year from now, another album.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say it's 15 songs that maybe 3 of them aren't as good as the others, but they all fit the narrative.
You were going for a thematic.
It's concept album, I guess.
Yeah. Very, very cool. All right, let's bounce real quick. And then I forgot to go over this because Julian's been on the show before, so I wasn't really thinking about it. So what we do here is I go over what we're doing. I go over the past 2 years, then where I'm going to go right now, which is a current project you're locked in on and excited about. And then we'll take a 5-minute break, and then we'll come back and talk about your future and what your plans are going forward. and then maybe I'll talk a little about life and stuff like that. But let's go to what we are at now. Nikki, what is something you are currently working on that has your focus, has your passion? If it's a couple things, that's okay too.
Yeah, I'm currently working on a project called Plant People, and there's two projects coming up that I'm really excited about. But right now, I'm in the middle of that. We've been shooting this weekend. Yeah. It's Tuesday. Yeah, or Wednesday. So this weekend, we begin shooting, and it's a beautiful story. There's so many parallels. Sometimes your art just is a retelling of your own personal story, and it's always special when you come across projects or even music or any kind of art like that where it has such a close resonance, with you in many different regards. So I'm very excited to see, where it goes. The team, the cast is excellent and talented. So I'm very excited about that.
So it's interesting because before you came on, we were talking about something that I probably he'll discuss in a second here that he was doing that it's very personal, but like autobiographical. But I get what you're saying. It is. I mean, I come from a writer's standpoint for the most part. So even though I can create things that really are not very derivative of my life, I would say there's always a portion of that in everything I write because you can't not have some of that. You know what I mean? But I think it's very beautiful as when an actor gets something like that on their plate that they can really dig into and come at it from a very natural, genuine heart because it's so tied to a similar experience or memory or and that is what the best actors do, even when it's not something that's similar. They try to find something similar that they can coerce that role out of. Can you elaborate a little more on the?
Yeah, like the connection maybe. Well, I'll say like my grandmother passed away 4 years ago now, and she was the number one person in my life, and so to have this story written by this person who I never met before, look at me and say, "You are my lead actress for this," um, without ever knowing my story. Um, and the character that I play, it's the same type of relationship, the same type of closeness, the same emotional journey, and the same kind of. There's a symbolic meaning of plants in the story, and it's the same thing that happened in my life between me and my grandmother as well. And so it's just a beautiful thing, and in that capacity, a little different than like say emotional recall when you're trying to tell a story as an actor, you're trying to reinvent, the feeling. This is more like a reliving. It's more like I am going rewinding, 4 years ago, and I'm getting the chance to maybe finish grieving,
It
you
does
know.
a higher chance of resonating intensity and beauty and realness. As you talked about just now, the two different things a really good actor does in a role. One being something that truly resonates with your own experience, and then another being maybe it doesn't, so you have to find that connection and resonate it as well. But that's beautiful. I mean, you're a very talented actor. I mean, anyone that watched that reel that we played in the beginning can see that within a couple of clips. And then you've absolutely always been stunning. But like I said, when I introduced you, the most important aspect to me is you've always shown a very benevolent, good heart spirit anytime we've interacted. And so that's because that can make someone far more resonating, charismatic, presence, everything else is magnified many times when you realize the person's actually a good spirit as well. And it can go the other way too. You have absolutely gorgeous people that are not very good people, and it makes their gorgeousness drop like a hot rock. You know what I mean? So,
Absolutely.
um, so very beautiful. Um, Now, Julian, what is? I have an idea what you're going to go with here, but what is something that you are currently working on that you're wrapped up in, and it's feeding into your passion and intensity of art?
Well, aside from the album, which is finishing mixing and selecting this track listing, it's mostly done. I've written a TV show with a collaborator, which has already attracted a lot of production companies who are interested, but we're looking for a showrunner currently, specifically. So we have an idea as to who the actor, like the additive.
Wait, you're not going to
is.
act for yourself? You're going to have someone act as you?
I'm going to have a cameo, but I'm not going to.
You forgot to mention it's very autobiographical. So
no, it's going to be somebody in their early 30s playing me in my early 30s.
we could just CGI up your face a little bit. So
You know, I'd be too good looking, and nobody would be able to watch the screen. I can't act.
Now you guys are starting to see the peek behind the curtains with Julian, which is what made me want to be friends with him to begin with. The quirky, arrogant, swiped with self-deprecating,
self-deprecating narcissism.
Yeah, so hey, it's a good balance. If it was just one or the other, it wouldn't work, man. So you gotta, you know.
No, I wouldn't. I'm not an actor, JD. I definitely like to. I want to.
That's untrue
cast
though, because
somebody.
I think you could act if you wanted to.
I think I could, but that's not my calling.
Yeah.
I find that I do act so much when I'm doing the tribute, and when I'm reenacting songs that I've written from the heart, it's an acting role.
Because
every
you've
time,
already
so.
played it 1,000 times.
Yeah, and I feel I derive pleasure from the continual rawness of that. Whereas as an actor, you kind of do it once. It's filmed. And I don't think
it depends. If you had Fincher as the director, you'd be doing it a hell of a lot more than once. But yeah.
What I mean is, you know.
No, I get it. It's
if you're a film,
it's done when the film's done. Yeah.
I don't think I'd want to do plays. I did a play actually recently, an interactive vampire play in Hollywood, and I was cast as.
You start chomping on audience members.
It was like an immersive experience, right? Immersive.
That's right.
I heard of that. Was it like a couple years ago or like a few years ago?
It was. I think it was last year. It was Hollywood and Vamp. It was called.
Okay. Cool.
I was the principal plant in the audience, so I was like talking to everybody and figuring out what they wanted, and then halfway through the show I got up and did a karaoke, and I was this like guy from the audience singing really badly, and then they turned me into vampire, and then I do my Bowie song, and everybody goes, "Oh my god, that guy! I know that guy!" And
it's hilarious.
So it was fun.
So on as far as your TV show, you're right now in the concept pre-production phase. Is that where you're?
We're in the pre-production phase. We had 3 production companies who wanted to partner with us to make it. And myself and the co-writer realized that if we allowed the production companies to partner with us, they could take our intellectual property and just chop it into bits. So we had a consultation with one of his friends who is a showrunner. And she said, "You've got to get a showrunner and the principal actress." Because the main protagonist, there's a guy and a manager, female manager character, who is kind of the principal if you really look at it.
So it's like film, man. I mean, I've danced that dance 1,000 times. Usually, now TV is different and episodical is different in the sense that they want a showrunner. But usually, almost the first thing they always ask is to get someone with recognition, acting-wise, attached to one of the lead roles. I mean, that's usually always one of the first. Otherwise, you're not coming from a leverage strength standpoint.
We have had multiple discussions about this with somebody who's a showrunner and a producer finds the money. Basically, she advised us that the showrunner is the most important person in this mix first, because they will have their choices of lead actors.
And they usually have connections to money, yes.
And if we were to suggest the lead actress, because I would like Sydney Sheldon, I think is her name, or Kerry Mulligan, or somebody like that, who fits that role. And I'd like Tunde Adebimpe is one of the other people we really want. Do you know the guy from TV on the radio?
I don't.
Oh, anyway, one of my favorite bands. I really want that guy in one of the roles, but he's not additive. So it's no use pitching these people. It's like a weird thing because I know who I've cast in my head, and it makes a lot of sense.
Until you have shown like it would be different if you already had like 2 successful TV shows under your belt.
Yeah, well, that's the reason we need the showrunner.
Leeway influence into that because they would trust that no matter what you do, it's going to make them money.
That's why we need the showrunner, you see, to partner with the showrunner.
That's always the problem is when you don't have that, then you have less negotiating power, I guess.
I mean, that's as I said, just to reiterate, if we got a as I say, it's a female protagonist who's the main person that we want to be additive to the show, and if we got that person, then it might put a showrunner off if they are partnered with somebody or contracted with one of the studios to bring in a specific person. So the showrunner is the person because they're the behind the scenes one who can bring the money, and then they will give us the idea. And we can give them suggestions, and if it's appropriate, then they'll bring them in. But anyway, we're down the line, but we're not making the show yet.
It's all right, man. I mean, it's all things are just. We've said this before. All great things are just a bunch of little small steps put together. So you just got to start stepping, and doesn't go.
I feel like I'm
A to B, man. You go from A to B to C to D.
With all the boats that I'm stepping in, I feel like I should be an octopus.
Yeah,
because there's so many things.
I'm the same way, man. I have that video game coming out. I have my novel I'm working on. I have.
Tell me about the video game. I don't know about that, JD.
We've had a company working on it for over like 14 months. It'll be done in about 5 more months. It's a visual novel video game based on the IP of The World. It's a prequel to Blade and Blood. We're utilizing it to hopefully not only make money on the video game, but to also build up brand interest in Blade and Blood.
Sure, that sounds good.
Which you're attached to, so there you go.
Because The World is great. I mean, that's the Sin City kind of.
Well, you are shark in Blade and Blood, so it's a good thing.
The new Batman, the first thing I thought when I saw it, I was like, this looks like JD's World.
Yeah, so I'm trying to. What I've learned in more than anything in the, and I think it's a good lesson for all of us in the COVID and all that stuff was to not put all my things in one basket, to diversify and to come at things in a more left field creative aspect. So hence the novel I'm writing right now to get my own brand up. That'll be out on Amazon like 3 months maybe. And then on top of that to create the video game that right out of the get-go will be marketed and attached to the feature film. So it'll and it's basically that it is, even though it's a video game, it'll be on Steam and all that stuff. We already have our Steam page for the game, just went up about a week ago. So the Steam page is already up there. People can wish list it and all that stuff. But I'm trying to come at things from creative angles. I think that helps a lot, especially if you're trying to go from an indie world into the big game. You have to come at things, one, to diversify and have multiple fires going as you do naturally, Julian. And then two, to come at things from a left field, very creative, new angle with which to me, that's how most people I've seen that didn't have already previous connections go from the indie world into some kind of success is they usually come at it from some strange, unique angle.
Definitely. You've got it. Brian Eno said it well. He said, "You must never aim at the target. You must always just create your own target."
Yeah, which is exactly what I figured out. I thought COVID was. We were talking about this earlier. I thought COVID was horrible. But I thought it was good for many reasons too. It gave a lot of people a lot of time to reflect, well, if they utilized it. It gave a lot of people time to self-reflect, to come up with creative things, to keep their spirit focused and out of depression and all these other things. If you utilize that time and energy to a good thing, I saw a lot of people come out of it with a lot of new insights into life, into themselves, and creative pursuits, and all along those lines. So and I tried to personally do that. And I know Mark did, because before he used to just walk around way more with his lightsaber and his undies, and I've seen a lot less of that since COVID has ended. So
I'm gonna get you one of these days.
The lightsaber.
Oh, I have a lightsaber.
He does have multiple lightsabers. He does. I'm not kidding in that aspect. Although one of them is shattered, So, and there was no euphemism in that statement.
So now it's a dark saber.
Yeah. But anyway, so what we're going to do, you guys. So we have amazing guests going on right now. We're gonna have a break here in a second, but I'm gonna come back and we're gonna dig deeper into their future dreams, their future aspirations, and dig more into who they are, because these are two beautiful, amazingly talented people. Like, talent level is out the roof, So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a 5-minute break. We'll be back in 5. You've been watching Stormcrow, Dreamers Talking to Dreamers, because that's what it's about. It's about dreaming big and making it go happen. And that's the key part, putting the work and the sweat and the dedication in to make those dreams find concrete. But we love having you here. We'll be back in 5 minutes, and then we'll dig into, with both our guests, into their future aspirations, their future dreams. And then we'll talk a little bit about life and other aspects as well. To my guests, don't disconnect or anything like that. Just he's going to show the same reels that we showed in the beginning. We're going to show them again. Just stay connected, and then we'll be back in 5 minutes. That'll give you time for him to create a song, and for you to get a drink or do whatever you need to do, Nick. But anyway. Blessings and love, you guys. Stormcrow, Dreamers Talking to Dreamers. We'll be back in 5 minutes. That's Mark Potter, my co-host. He makes the magic happen. My name's JD. This is Nikki and Julian. And then Lola is strolling around somewhere. So we'll be back in 5.
You've been texting me all motherfucking day. I'm here. What you want?
I knew I lost my mind. You know why? She was my mama. You supposed to know and love the woman in me deeper and stronger than anybody else.
I want that. I just don't want that with you.
Love is love. And I'm not just any woman. I am your best friend.
Are you in this neighborhood, really?
I can't spend all my time on this Mr. Olsen. I work,
Oh, look how the fuck that turned out. To have hope where confusion sets. Love unfamiliar but ordained, and therefore to be celebrated and trusted.
Why do you keep telling me to relax? My fiance has been abducted, Rick.
I don't belong to you, like you don't belong to me. There's a space behind your eyes that I can feel, but I don't need anything that you can offer me. I just want to know conditions of your smile. Don't wanna see you cry, don't wanna hear you lie. The story of my life, oh heaven knows I tried. Don't wanna see you cry, don't wanna hear you lie. The story of your life, the devil God that's forbidding me. Just grant me the forgiveness in your heart. It's only free will or predestiny. Sacrifice me on the altar of your past. Don't wanna see you cry. Don't wanna hear you lie. The story of your life. Oh, heaven knows I've tried. Don't wanna see you cry. Don't wanna hear you lie. The story of my life. The devil knows I've tried. The devil knows I've tried.
Guys, Nick, you there?
Oh, yes, I am. Hello.
All right, Lola, you ready? All right. This time we'll start with Julian and start with the second half. What is one of your major goals in the next 2 years that you want to accomplish besides TV show? Since we already talked about that.
TV show, album. I want to find a permanent house and studio because I've been a bit transient for the last year and a half. That's it, really. I mean, the TV show is the big one. That's my focus.
And what's the plan as far as when you think you're going to get your personal album?
The album? Ooh, I have a single coming out, joint single with a girl called Arden and the Wolves. It's coming out in August. It's like a fictional dialogue between Labyrinth of Jareth, David Bowie, and Sarah, grown up. And the album, it's kind of done. So I'm maybe going to release it on October the 16th, which is an anniversary. Because basically the album is the story of my relationship with my current belle.
Eva.
So Eva is her name. So you've met Eva, JD.
I did when I shot that video stuff for you.
So it's probably going to be released it October the 16th, I imagine, or that week. Because it's a narrative album. I mean, I've shot videos for a lot of the songs, and she's in most of
Do
them.
you want to coincide it with shooting the videos for it?
No. She's in videos for about. You've seen that's on the. She's in that video. Devil Knows, that's her, obviously.
Yeah, and you had a couple different renditions of it, and you like I could have sworn I saw like either that or I was just seeing parts like or more elaborate.
There are 3 videos for that song. There was
Yeah.
a video that is very similar to this one,
Yeah.
which was my version. Then I did a complete recut of the video with another version of the song, which was produced by somebody else. And this one is back to the original version.
Yeah, I just remember when you launched it. I remember seeing a few different ones.
There were 2 cuts.
Yeah.
I've just realized watching the one I sent you that there's a stray frame at the end there. I'm going to have to eradicate before I put it together.
Hey, sometimes you got to just let it go, man. Like if I literally, I would never get a script or a novel or anything effing written if I just kept dissecting it, because I could all day long and find something to change, find something to tweak, find something. And I've learned a long time ago. I mean, I've been writing now for what, 3 decades. I learned a long time ago. Maybe I'll come back to it later, but at certain points, just to leave it alone and push it to the side and go on to something new, because I could get in like edit hell where you're just tweaking.
I know. But the first video didn't have any stray frames. I don't know where it came from.
You could say it's an artistic license of imperfection.
Nikki is chasing her stray frames right now.
She is. And she could say that was her French noir artistic expression she was playing with.
Yes.
Or there's music in her head. I don't know. One of the two. It's a polyrhythm.
Either that or there's just a bothersome fly rolling around her head. One or the other.
That is as interesting, but you know.
Hey, you guys! It's not just about project and seriousness. We also like to have fun on the show. In fact, at the very end of this episode, for those that are Star Wars buffs, Mark will be doing a teaching class on acrobatic dual lightsaber movements, and it'll be amazing for those people that are interested in such.
But that's a private link, right? That's
Yeah,
a paywall.
Yeah, it's
It is, because we never know what he's actually going to be wearing when he does that. So it's got to have the adult only aspect to it. But
it's the OnlyFans.
Right.
Hey, Lola, don't be listening. You're not old enough. Anyway, okay, so let's go over to Nikki. Hey, Nikki, in the next 2 years, what is one of your main goals that you want to accomplish?
Well, I have a charity, The Love Effect, and we've been doing some cool stuff across the nation for 5 years. Taking like a 2-year break, and in the next 2 years, I hope to. Well, I know that the 501c3 paperwork is going to be done. We will have expanded to 2 more cities, so we'll be fully functioning in Atlanta, LA, Chicago, and my hometown, Jackson, Mississippi. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. Plus, a lot of smiles on people's faces, and it does a lot of good for both volunteers and the recipients. So I'm really excited about that. And just creating and continue to tell good stories, winning an award or 2, just continuing on. I'm doing what I love, and I'm very, very thankful.
Hey, if you ever want me to write something for you and you can find someone to go shoot it, feel free. I'll jot something for you.
Amen. There we go.
Nikki, what's the charity?
The Love Effect. Yes.
What is it about? What's the?
So what we do is we create care bags for people who are on the streets or just in transition, and so we make gender specific. So things that women need when we have special things that men need, and things that children need. And so it started out as something we did around the holidays, but then we expanded to different parts. And then during COVID, we just did something like made some food. We always write love letters. So everything like handwritten love letters that just kind of like express some just love and some humor, and it's just really authentic, and it does a lot for people's spirits. So when the donations run out, they have that letter to hold on to, that somebody cares. That matters to me.
It does matter. It probably matters almost more than anything else if someone's really sad and depressed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there a way that people can help, like send you assistance?
Yes, absolutely. Their website, oddly enough, is being revamped again, but people can send in love letters and also send in donations if they want. I'll say that right off bat, the Instagram is The Love Effect Connect. You can always just DM there, The Love.
So say it slower so Mark can actually type it in.
Oh, sure. The Love Effect Connect. And
that's the
Instagram.
EFFECT, right?
Yes.
Love Effect Connect. The Love Effect Connect on Insta.
Yes, that's on Insta. And then it'll take you to the website. The website will be
Is it
up
also
in
on
3 more days.
Facebook?
Facebook, it's going to be help for the holidays. So it's.
Well, I found the Love Effect on Facebook, and I want to make sure that I actually got. Nope. Wait. Wow.
No,
okay,
I know that's
film.
yeah, that's not it. It's the Instagram.
Nikki,
Julian's showing it to you on Insta.
Yep, that's the Instagram. That's it. Yeah.
So, Mark, put the Insta on the link. But anyway, so it's The Love Effect Connect.
Yes. And so the website.
Or people listening to me right now, then go on to Insta and search or / The Love Effect Connect.
Yeah, they can just put it in the search bar, no backslash, and then the website will be up so people can send in love letters, send in donations, be it financial or blankets or socks. Whatever you want to send in. I have a storehouse that we keep until we do a whole bagging day. So
I'm sure Julian would write a love letter.
What's the most useful thing to donate?
So I would say essentials. So like for women, it's like certain toiletries. For men, it's like powder and things to shave, utensils and things like that. So all these essentials that people don't think about, toothbrushes, deodorant, dry shampoos, and just all these little things, that we just disregard. Wipes, sanitary wipes and sanitizer. Well, there's a
Nikki, are you in LA?
Right now, I'm in Atlanta. I just came back from LA.
All right. So just hook up with Julian. I'm sure he does enough music events and local events. I'm sure he would love to hook up and create like one of his events he does. He could pair it with what you're talking about.
Absolutely.
I know Julian well enough to be able to say he would be open to such things.
Oh, definitely.
Okay, I would love that. I would love to talk about that. So that's the big thing for my heart that I want to do. It got so big a few years ago. I was like, oh gosh, I need help. So I was like, well, let's go ahead and go through the formal process because it was community supported for so long. So I'm gonna go through the formal process so I can get some people on the team so that it could really be executed in the way that it should be executed. So.
Well, that's it's probably the most beautiful thing about doing these shows now. What do you say, Mark? We've been doing it for now 4 years. Is more than anything else, we started it so that people would have interviews. They could download it and cut it up and use. Actors could have interviews and footage of themselves and all that kind of stuff being genuine. But the more important part that has come from it is the connections between guests that didn't know each other. And meet on the show. We even had someone get married or engaged. From the 2 guests who were on the show, one of the guests' best buddies ended up marrying the female guest that had been on the show, or they were engaged. I'm not quite sure, but we've had a plethora of those.
No pressure, Nikki. No pressure.
We've had a plethora of those kind of experiences, whether it be they gave each other opportunities in films they were involved with, or whatever it was, or just formed friendships. But that has to me been the most beautiful aspect of 52 episodes in 4 years, is the amount of friendships that were created and connected with, whether peripherally or direct. And so, like I said, Julian's a good guy to know. He has a good heart, and he's always doing a bunch of different creative projects. All I can tell you about Nikki, in the 7-8 years I've known her, she has always been good-hearted and genuine in every one of our interactions and real. So that's a good combo. But anyway, that's beautiful. Now let's talk. We already talked about it a little bit, but let's talk about what were the positive insights you garnered on your path through COVID. And we'll start with Nikki.
Just be present and really focus on maximizing the current moment. Because the moments feed together into like this beautiful hour and then a beautiful day. But just be very, very present. Don't worry so much about the future. Don't ruminate over the past. Just right now, how do I feel? Right now, this food I'm eating, how delicious is it? Just be very, very present. I mean, everything can be so fleeting when you're not. And then you'll find yourself really not enjoying this experience. And it's really worth enjoying. And people are really worth loving and learning. And you yourself are worth knowing and peeling back the layers of. And you can only do that by being very present. There's so much that you just see when you're present. That was the most valuable thing for me.
Very cool, and I agree 100%. Although sometimes when I'm too present and looking in the mirror at this mug, I get a little nauseous. But still, one must learn to accept oneself.
Yeah. Say I love
also,
myself.
One must love thyself.
Yes, JD, say I love myself.
Oh man, I feel like I'm about to walk into a Saturday night skit, man. Saturday Night Live skit. Because I'm good and I'm wonderful.
Yes.
And hey, I came out of the room with the last name Glasscock. I had to learn self-deprecating humor at an early age, man. Otherwise, it was going to be a long-ass road if I didn't learn how to laugh at myself. All right, Julian, your turn.
I had as I say, the pandemic was a really interesting experience for me. I got to spend, my ex-wife got a job finally after 4 years of not having one. So I looked after my little girl by myself pretty much for the first 8 months, which was doing children's yoga in front of the screen and teaching her the piano. We made a couple of little movies. We would just read together. I taught her to read. I taught her to play the piano. It was a really magical experience. It was like you said, Nikki, it's like I was present for me and for her.
Yeah.
And I'll never get that chance again to teach someone to read. That was quite
special. That sounds like a beautiful experience, man. That you'll probably treasure, and she will probably treasure.
It was a little isolating because when you only have a 7-year-old, a 5-year-old to talk to, it wears thin sometimes. I mean, most of the time not, because you've met her. She was
she wasn't talking when I met her.
But she's very articulate.
In fact, she was sleeping for the whole time I met her. But yes.
But she slept very intelligently. I can remember. So that was wonderful. And then the thing that when I did the whole live streams thing, I didn't realize how many people cared. Like I can go off and I can play in front of 8,000 people, and I meet 100, but there's such a boundary and a wall between you and the people that you don't feel the love that they're trying to emanate, because you're a little guarded against that. But when I was doing it online, the irony of being disconnected completely through a screen, I got more responses that felt more personal and more resonant through that than I had for all the years performing live. It was like a weird oxymoron in some ways. And I've bumped into people since that watch the pandemic shows who have thanked me for saving their sanity, because I was the only connection they had with their prior life, because they were isolated at home.
Yeah, but sometimes those are the things that get you going. It's not the things that make you a ton of money. Those are nice, or things that help you.
It made me a lot of money. It made me a lot of money.
But I'm just saying, it's when you see that your art or your creation has affected someone, sometimes you don't even know,
right?
In such a heavy, like I still say to this day, one of the most, and I've been doing the art thing for since 1990 or whatever. Still to this day, one of the most beautiful moments I ever experienced was when I was drunk at a bar, and it was middle of summer, Orange County, and someone came up to me, a woman, probably mid-20s, with a ski cap on, and it was like 90 degrees out, and I'm like, and she goes, "Is your name JD?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Oh, my friend bought me one of your little chapbooks of poetry, but back then I was doing poetry, and it had like a photo of me in the back or whatever." And I said, "Oh, okay, great." And she goes, "No, you don't understand." She takes her hat off. She's completely bald, and she told me, "Your book got me through chemo."
Wow.
And that was a long time ago. That was probably 20 years ago. But I still, to this day, whenever I'm feeling depressed, or I'm feeling like I'm not accomplishing enough, or I feel like, I still haven't garnered the goal of making a career out of whatever aspect of art of mine that I'm doing, I always think back to that day and say, hey, you know what? Everything I've done is worth it, because it's done that for someone. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, art is something that is inexplicable and so subjective. People do not approach things in the same way each time you listen to a song, for example. You can listen to it when you're 25 and you'll hear the beat. You can listen to it when you're 30, you'll hear the lyric. And then you listen to it when you're 35 and you'll hear the pathos in the lyric.
I never hear any of that, but I'm a little dense, so.
You poet.
Yeah, oh yeah, dense. Very poetic word. Very, very poetic phrasing. That's awesome, and I hope that these things between what Nikki was talking about and being in the moment, to even though it was a little analogous, what Julian was talking about, which was more the opportunity to share amazing and beautiful experiences with a child that may not have existed if not for that. So even though they're somewhat connected in concept, they're a little bit different. So he got to share beauteous moments by being in the moment, but also what she was saying is to remember to be in the moment, but also to remember to allow yourself those beautiful moments, especially with other spirits, that you can have by being in the moment. And now I feel like I've just confused myself, but still, again, remember also, and pretty soon Mark's going to be doing his acrobatic adult link lightsaber movements. But anyway, you guys out there, the people that are out there, just remember the whole point of this show, and the point that we always try to convey, is life is not very fulfilling if you don't dream. If you don't have dreams, life is kind of empty. And so dream big, dream hard, and always put the work in and the sweat in, but also understand not to get locked in the dream of tomorrow, but to participate in the dream of today. And because all those things tomorrow won't happen unless you make the steps today. And so just remember those things. Remember these two beautiful artists you've been able to visit with today. Support them and their aspirations. If you're interested, Mark will figure out how to put a link somewhere. If you're interested in helping Nick with her...
Love effect.
Yes.
I've already posted it, so it's gone on to Twitch, and
it didn't go to
YouTube.
Cool.
And then we also had somebody comment as well, Julian.
And then at the same time, you also have the amazing Julian.
Thank you, Dan.
If you want to support his music, support his autobiographical TV series, then feel free to connect with them. If you have issues with trying to connect to them, connect with me or Mark, and then we'll figure out a way of that happening. But anyway, it's been absolutely wondrous and beautiful. I thank Julian for last second coming on. It's appreciated. And I hope to do in one form or another work with both of you in some fashion or another. And I always say this, and no one ever takes me up on it really, but Nikki, if you want me to ever write you something like a short something that you want to go have one of your friends shoot for you, go feel free. I actually mean that. I'm the opposite of talking shit. If I say I'll do it, I'll do it. And then Julian, if I can ever help you in any way, then let me know, and I'll do my best to try to make that happen.
Well, come down to the shows. We're going to be playing up in Dallas.
It's hard. You're always on the weekend, man, and that's when I work and make my money.
It's at the Toyota.
And you always let me know last second.
Well, this is a week in advance now.
That's last second, dude.
So
let me know like a month in advance, and then I can actually like request it off and all that kind of stuff. You know?
I know. All right, sorry. So yeah, 15th and 16th.
Let me know a month in advance next time you're in Dallas, and I'll come down.
I'm very bad at paying attention to where we're playing each weekend, so that's why it's not a.
In case anybody wants to go, where's this show going to be?
We're in San Antonio on Friday, not this Friday, the Friday after, and then Dallas, the Toyota Festival. It's like a Back to the 80s festival. We're headlining that, and I'm doing Bowie that night as well. So it's going to be Bowie and Strange Love Depeche Mode experience. I don't remember the venue, but it's huge. It's like an 8,000 capacity.
I'm sure Julian can figure that out.
Toyota Music Factory.
Toyota Music
Factory,
yeah. I think you're right.
Anyway, you guys, it's been a beautiful night. Thank you for anyone that's watching currently or will watch in the future. This is recorded and it will be permanently up on our Facebook page, Twitch page, and YouTube page. Nick, if you want to download any of those things, you can chop it up and use the interview process if it helps you in any way. But anyway, beautiful blessings, you guys. I thank my guests again. I thank Mark for always listening to my shite and still doing the magical tech side of all of this. And then, again, beautiful thoughts to my guests. Peace to the world, love to everyone, and you can watch the Stormcrow Dreamers Talking to Dreamers. Always
nice
great.
to meet you, Nikki. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, JD.
Talk to you soon. Bye, JD.
It was a pleasure having y'all on.
Thank you.